Yo, what's up, boys? Check, check. 1, 2. How you doing, man? I've been playing Heroes of the Storm with my niece. We were having so much fun. And we were just finished the moment you posted, or the moment I saw the message. So the thing is, I was already preparing a tutorial about this. And if there is even one person who are willing to listen, that's a motivation for me to explain, right? And the stuff I talk about on streams, personally, they are kind of practice for me for the tutorials I'm preparing, right? I'm just talking about it spontaneously, live, and see how you guys react, and then I adjust stuff. I'm gonna talk about that part as well. So yeah, you making that mind map really inspired me to talk about it. End of the week, just chilling. Nice, nice, nice. We had at least an audience of one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's enough for me, right? YouTube says 3. Let's see. Concurrent viewers. I don't know. I don't think that's always accurate, right? Because in YouTube Studio, in the small panel, it says 3. In the large panel, it says 2. I don't know. Maybe that's I don't. I have no idea. It says 4, and then big panel says 3. I think it depends on how much someone is watching. I think it updates it after a while. Someone is on the chats. I don't know. Maybe something like that. Anyways, you got yeah. I read that. No idea. Okay. So the tutorial I was preparing before, it's already in Qui. Hopefully, I'll get it done this month at least. So I had this blueprint, right? This is from lots of different books, but mainly from Unscripted. I just gathered some concepts and applied those concepts to like applied those concepts to creative stuff, right? So usually, uh, and the sad part is nobody teaches us this stuff, right? I haven't seen any school teaching this kind of stuff. Uh, haven't seen. I don't know. I didn't have anyone around me teaching me this stuff. So yeah, usually this is how it goes, right? We want something, right? You wanna make your own game. You wanna do create your own comic, whatever it is, and then we instantly think about how we can do it, right? But that's the wrong approach, right? Because this is the fuel. Let's draw a fuel can. So the thing I'm doing with anything, right? This can be just something I'm drawing, or this can be a really long-term project. This can be a job. This can be a freelance project. Uh, yeah. So this is the first thing, right? Usually we think about something. I want to do this. I want to do that, and then we think about, okay, how can I do that, right? But it doesn't work like that because uh, even if you figure out how to do it, usually shit happens in life. You get discouraged, demotivated, all kind of stuff. Uh, the proper way is to you know you decide what you want, and then you start thinking about why do you want it, right? Thinking about all the rewards you can get from it, right? It seems like we are back, I guess. Let's see. Dude, seriously. I have no idea. I'm back? Okay, cool. Uh, I have no idea what's going on, man. Anytime I start streaming, this starts happening. Either it's something to do with OBS, or I have some bullshit in my computer that's fucking up the connection. Maybe someone is, you know, some weird ass guy is keeping track of me. That's a schizo thought, but it's possible. Maybe that Babiana guy, you know, you remember that weird, weird guy? Maybe he learned hacking and DDoSing me or something. Uh, those are the options, right? Or maybe it's the internet, but it should be a huge coincidence to ISP to do this shit anytime I start streaming, right? Turns out he's an IT professional and haunting you. Yeah, maybe. But dude, who am I, right? Who the fuck am I? Like I have 1K followers. I'm not a big channel or something like that. Anyways, but when someone gets pissed, they go all the way to do weird shit. But yeah, it might be. I don't know. Is it the browser? Is it OBS? I'm gonna probably I'll reinstall, format my drives, reinstall Windows, all that. Uh, yeah. Anyway, so uh, I have no idea what you guys heard last, but let's start over. Like, okay, so this is how it goes, right? We have something we want. Could be a driver. Yeah, it could be anything, right? It's Windows, man. Fucking Windows. Remember why I couldn't stream my tablet? Because doing the screen share crash. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, and this weird shit happens all the time without you changing something, right? It's like Windows just decides to start doing something. You're just starting to talk about why. Okay, okay. So okay, let's just in case, let's start from here. So we want something, right? You want to, I don't know, develop your own game, create your IP, write a graphic novel. It might be anything, right? Learn, I don't know, learn something. It can be a learning goal, or it can be a production. Maybe you want to make an animation or a film, whatever it is, right? This can be applied to anything, but in this case, I'm talking about like in creative domains. Okay. So we want something, and the next step is you think about why do you want it, right? You think about the opportunities it will provide. Maybe it will make you lots of money, and then you think about uh, what will you do with your money, with that money, and what kind of opportunities it will provide for you and your friends, family, maybe. This is more like a result, right? You just find that really strong purpose, and then it drives you forward like nothing else, right? And then we figure out how to do it, right? What kind of skills we need to learn, uh, or just making sure all the parts, and then which part are you gonna delegate, which part are you gonna do by yourself, uh, which parts are you gonna learn, all that, right? This is the how part, this is the strategy. And then there's the execution, and execution by itself is a practice, right? How to execute. There's this 3A system: act, adjust, and what was it? Act, assess, and adjust, right? And then the discipline. And discipline part is to keep going, right? How are you gonna stay consistent and keep going when times get tough, right? So I had prepared lots of notes for each specific category to get deeper on those. But yeah, let's start with what part? Just gonna take this here. Yeah, okay. Maybe zoom out. It's okay. Okay, so what part is the belief part, right? Usually most people don't believe they can achieve what they want to achieve, right? You know, we all have limiting beliefs, but usually the average people is, they are not in a good situation, right? If you are even thinking about doing something, right? Chasing your own personal goals, you know, launching a business, developing a game, creating a movie, an animation, comic book, whatever it is. And this part is all about the mind, right? This is all the mindset, the approach. And what I mean by belief is like it's your core beliefs about yourself, right? It's like self and the world, right? So, for example, if you believe, let's say you have a goal, right? This is the goal. And if you believe you have at least a possibility to achieve that goal, right? Personally, if you believe you can do it, I mean, at least you try, right? But if you don't believe uh, you can achieve it, I mean, what happens? You won't even try, right? So that's the first and most important thing. And then the world, right? Most people believe themselves, but they don't trust in the world, right? Or they have some, uh, is it called in self-help circles, like limiting beliefs, right? And then they think world is not fair, or I'm not lucky, or some bullshit, not realistic belief about the world or the existence. And yeah, these should be in alignment with the goal, right? Or maybe you have an idea, you have a goal, an idea, a business idea, whatever it is, and then maybe you think about in terms of the world, or maybe you think like there's no market for it, right? Or the market is too crowded, or something like that, or nobody wants it, some external, right? So this is inner and this is the outer, right? Or nobody wants to buy that, or some bullshit like that. uh, the important thing is to the to be realistic about it, right? Not being delusional, at the same time not being too pessimistic as well. And this is kind of an identity. If you define yourself as an artist, it's much easier, right? Instead of defining yourself as someone trying to do art, or aspiring artist, right? One of the important things is, and I've seen it in lots of successful people over and over again, they kind of define themselves as the end result, right? Let's say you want to develop your own comic book, or create your own IP. You already define yourself by the end goal, right? Let's say if you want to be a, let's say, comic artist, you already define yourself by that, right? And then you act from the end goal. So that's one part of it, right? One of the other important part is clarity. So I'm just gonna write the key concepts here, and these are stuff just I'm explaining, right? So first part is the mind, or let's call it the mindset, right? And then clarity. Clarity is so important as well. It's like having having as clear as you can be on what you want, right? It's like just nail it down, right? Write it down. What do you want? When do you want it? How do you want it? Like, getting as clear as you can. Of course, you can't be clear perfectly because you don't really know what's gonna happen on the road, but the best to your ability. And the thing is, we all act in the world according to our beliefs, right? This is so huge. As I said, it's so cliche, but it's so true, right? If you believe you can do something, you at least go that way, right? Uh, and this is something to be worked on and refreshed, like daily, weekly. Uh, yeah, it's that cliche, right? You just gotta believe, and also it's being grounded in reality, as well as not being delusional. Uh, and there are lots of enemies we have at this part, right? We have, like, it's so insane. As human beings, we have like more than 25 cognitive biases, right? I'm not going to go into these because it will take forever, but just Google it and you'll see there are lots of biases. There are lots of shortcuts our brains developed over the years by evolution. And these are mostly useful, but sometimes these can work against us, right? So one of it is the cognitive bias. Cognitive bias. What else? Another one I can think of is survivor ship bias, right? And there are lots of stuff like this, right? It's important to have some kind of awareness of our minds. Our minds usually, not usually, all the time, they just seek shortcuts, right? What our minds are doing all the time is like minimum energy, maximum efficiency, right? It can work for us or against us. You are a machine, you don't have biases. No, dude, I have so many biases, but I'm working on these, eventually getting better and better. I mean, you can't really beat millions of years of evolution, but you can be aware of them and you can tell them to shut the fuck up when you don't need them, right? So yeah. Uh, so let's make an example, right? For example, uh, what comes to your mind when I say talent? So most people will uh, just spit out something, right? They just parrot something out, right? Talent is, some people are talented, some people have much talent, some people have less talent, and you need talent to be successful. All that shit that you've heard over and over again from lots of different people, right? I mean, my general approach is, if I'm hearing something from lots of people in the same way, uh, there's a high chance that's a bias, right? That's a mind virus, or fame, right? Or money. So lots of people have these weird thoughts and beliefs about around these subjects, right? Money, and this is also huge in politics and all that, or freedom, right? Stuff like this. So it's so important to get your mind clear. Just get rid of all the bullshit beliefs, all the shit that's not really true, but that's preventing us, right? So yeah, it's important to, for example, maybe when I say money to someone, they have an emotional reaction, right? Because if you think about it, uh, hold on, are we online? We seem like online. I think it's good, right? Okay. Feel free to type in chat so I know I'm online. It seems like I'm online. Okay. So yeah, usually people like buzzwords, right? Usually people Dropped for a split second. Okay. Hopefully it will just get stable, I guess. So, anyways, usually people have some emotion associated with these kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's hard times, right? Economy is kind of fucked up. We are all mind fucked by money. You need to earn money, all that. So yeah, again, I'm not gonna go into these subjects as well. But yeah, that's the general idea, right? Get your mind clear and get rid of bullshit thoughts and beliefs that's not serving you. And yeah, anytime you think about anything, instantly your brain comes up with some arguments, some suggestions, some thoughts, some associations. Sometimes they are true, right? Sometimes they are helpful, but sometimes they are not, right? They are not absolute truths. Yeah, most of the time they are not. Because if you think about it, existence or the reality, right, is infinite. And your brain or your mind is finite. So you can't really understand reality. No matter what you do, you can't. It's like trying to count to infinity, right? You just can't do it. So having that understanding that you will always have blind spots and stuff you don't know, it's really important. And also biases, like you already have lots of enemies in your mind, right? I mean, they are not actual enemies, but lots of blind spots and roadblocks. The first step is solve the inner part, get rid of the inner blocks, and then the outer part, right? So okay, let's see. Yeah, so I was talking about the infinite nature of the existence. So to keep us stay sane and not go totally fucking insane, our brains developed these biases to create a low resolution model of the reality and function in the world efficiently. And if you think about it, if you think about money, lots of people want to get rich, right? But at the same time, they believe rich people are evil and greedy. So, so you see the dilemma there. Like you want to get rich, but at the same time at the same time you believe rich people are evil and greedy. So you want to be evil and greedy? Of course you don't. And what happens is your brain find ways to pull you out of that, right? It's like the identity part. Let's put it here as well. So let's say inner is I want to get rich, and outer is rich people are evil and greedy. And this is a conflicting belief, right? It's like, and then the application crashes. So it works like that, right? So it's so important to resolve these inner conflicts, or artists are these type of person, or these people are these type of people, right? Any stereotype belief, any idea that's not serving you, they are so important to get solved. This is the first step, because you can progress in the path a while with these beliefs, but at some point these will fuck us up, right? So uh, yeah, cognitive biases, I talked about them. Confirmation bias. Did I just type cognitive bias? I meant to type confirmation bias, right? This is one of the huge ones. Confirmation bias is uh, as a result of evolution, right? Our brains are always seeking in the world the evidences of the thoughts and beliefs we already believe in, right? And you know, your brain is always looking out to confirm the already existing beliefs. So that's one of them, right? Again, I'm not going to talk about all of them, but yeah. So basically, your brain doesn't give a shit about your goals and your dreams. All it wants to keep you alive, safe, and, you know, produce, have some children, eat, you know, stay alive, the basic needs, right? We sometimes we might need to, you know, stand up to our own thoughts and beliefs, and you know, act accordingly. So how do we get over it, right? What do we do? These are all theory, right? In practice, these are all useless, because, you know, even I will forget about the shit I'm talking about here, like, you know, after 2 days. So we need some kind of strategy and practice to apply in our daily lives to, you know, make it to a system, and we can always keep ourselves in check. The best way I can think about is cognitive distancing, right? It's like if you are into meditation, you already know about it. It's like putting a distance between you and your thought process and then watching it, right? Right? It's you can do this, like, you know, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, something like that. But yeah, this is huge. This helps a lot because it's like, you know, in meditation they talk about the mind as a river, right? And the thoughts are the river, just, you know, they are passing through a river. Instead of just going with the river, you just sit on the land and just watch it, right? And then you realize the inner dialogue, your mind, the things your mind spit out. It's like watching what you think and how you think, and, you know, it's observing. And usually, you know, this can be done with meditation, any kind of relaxation, you know, walking in the woods, chilling out, you know, chilling out in the sauna, or, you know, beach, whatever it is for you, right? This is also different for everyone. I mean, sometimes I'm just playing games and I go into that brain wavelength, right? It's like I'm, you know, I think they call it gamma uh, waves of the brain, right? You know, I'm not a scientist, but it's something like that. I go into this meditative state when I'm playing games, and then, you know, it's a weird experience. Anyways, and this is also a skill, right? As you do it more and more, you become better at it, and you become better at seeing your own biases and all that. Uh, yeah, and you get less attached emotionally to weird shit, right? Yeah, and then, you know, as you put more distance between you and your cognitive processes, uh, you can get rid of the thinking patterns, beliefs, thinking patterns that's not helping you, and, you know, that will help, and then adapt the ones that will help you achieve your goals. Another one is like these are kind of mindset and identity are kind of tied together. And it's also important to not identify ourselves with our thoughts, right? It's like most people identify themselves with a uh, specific thought or, you know, emotion, and, you know, less you attach to thoughts, easier for you to change them, right? So if you think about thoughts as a vehicle, right, they are just tools, right? Because, you know, as I said, existence is infinite and brain is finite. It's just a model of a reality. So if you get attached to thoughts, you are just getting attached to a picture of something instead of the something itself. So thoughts are just vehicles, right? If you think about it as a car or a vehicle, right? Transportation vehicle, and you want to go from point A to point B. And this can be point X, this can be point F, whatever it is. In different circumstances, you might need different vehicles, right? It's just like it's like finding the belief system that will help you go from A to B, right? If you want to go from Berlin to, I don't know, what's Rome. I mean, you can go with a car, or you can go with a plane, right? Or if you want to go from Berlin to New York, you can maybe, go somewhere from Berlin and go with the ship, go with the plane, whatever it is, but it's different every time, right? If you want, excuse me, if you want to go from London to New York, you can't, at least for now, you can't go with a car, right? You need to go with a ship or a plane. So yeah, that's the idea, right? It's like thoughts are vehicles, and don't get attached to any single thoughts. Don't get overly attached or rigidly attached, and be prepared to change anything that's not serving you, right? These are just tools. And yeah, what else I want to talk about this? Yeah, the mindset, right? And then it's also important to adapt the specific mindset that's aligned with this thing, right? Let's say you want to be an entrepreneur, right? And then it's important to adapt the entrepreneur mindset, or if you are an artist, adapt the artist mindset. It's not like taking the art mindset and following it blindly, but just taking whatever you think that will serve you. Yo, what's up, Fortnite? How you doing? Fancy seeing two of you here. Thank you, dude. You too. Clockwork. Ford is a guy who enjoys the process of Erle of creative process. Nice. And yeah, as I said, identity is important, right? If you want to be a writer, what do writers do? You write, right? If you want to be a painter, you define yourself as a painter, and you paint. That's your job. If you think about it, it's really simple, right? You just prove. Let's say you are not a painter, right? Maybe you haven't painted anything in your life, but you want to be a painter. You start by defining yourself as a painter, and then you prove that identity every day, right? If you painted today, you're a painter. So you can think about it like that. All right, so let's see. Okay, another one. This is more at the meta level, right? This is before coming to artist mindset or painter mindset, whether it is. It's something called growth mindset. And there's an awesome book that's it's one of those books that changed my mind. Let's see, Carol Dweck mindset. I think I've showed this book a couple of times. This one, basically, it talks about two types of mindsets: fixed mindset and growth mindset. So fixed mindset, as the name suggests, it's like fixed mindset thinks everything is fixed about you, right? Your talents, your intelligence, all that, and they cannot be changed, or your traits, personality. And as opposed to growth mindset, believes you can basically change anything that's changeable with yourself, right? You can learn new skills. You can basically learn anything you need to learn to be successful, to achieve your goals, or to get where you want to go. And yeah, take a look at it if you are interested, guys. Dude, I can't talk. If you are interested, take a look at into that book. Again, I'm not going into details, but you know, it's the basic concept of you know, the willingness and willingness and ability to change your thoughts, you know, beliefs, thoughts, and yeah, it's so important. Again, as I said before, you know, maybe you want to do something, right? There's a goal, and then you realize you don't know how to do that, right? Maybe you want to develop an app, but you don't know how to code, right? If you think that you can't learn that, well, guess what? You'll just, you know, quit. But, you know, in growth mindset, people think, okay, I can learn this, I can learn that, I can learn this, and they just start doing it, right? So, as you define on your mind map, TK, it's like, you know, I think you created the box, like, you know, what needs to be learned, all that stuff, the fundamentals and all that. So yeah, this is a part of it. And yeah, also these kind of stuff, actually everything I'm talking here is a lifelong study, right? These are more like the meta level skills that we should develop, like cognitive distancing, you know, mindset, having clarity. All these come before any project or any job. Yeah, these are so important. Another one is what you feed your mind is so important. If you think about it, you know, we have a body, right? This is the body. Let's give it some weird hands and feet. So your body is basically a process. We could call it process. That consists of everything you gathered from outside, every nutrition, right? Proteins, all that. It's like since you are born, every food you eat, it's like turning into you, right? Your body is basically uh, the things you know that you consume, and it's like what you feed your body is important, right? You don't go out and drink a detergent, whatever it is, drink, or you don't go drink gas, right? And it's same with the mind, right? What you feed your mind is so important. If you feed your mind with you know, limiting beliefs, or you know, even if you just watch news, dude, just watch news for a day and see what happens, right? You'll get depressed out of your mind. So thinking you need a t-shirt, Merc, just throw. Yeah, could be, I don't know. Honestly, I never, maybe that's a limiting belief, but I never thought the merch could sell well. I don't know. So yeah, it's important to feed your mind, right? Also important to who you hang out with, right? This is also, you know, this is everything from people you hang out physically, and you know, the YouTube videos you watch. Even if you have no friends, even if you have no contact with any human being, you know, the videos you watch are like they are your habitat, right? And you know that saying, you are the average of 5 people that you hang out the most, and we rub off each other, right? I mean, we've seen that in Inktober. TK and I were, you know, we were constantly drawing shit and rubbing off each other. Uh, so yeah, that's another part of it. Especially if you are just starting your journey, if you are a beginner artist, or you know, maybe you want to get into some industry or something. It's so powerful to, you know, just get around people who are already doing what you want to do, right? It's so huge, man. You'll rub off so many nuances, so many habits. Yeah, but as I said, these are all lifelong studies. Maybe you have a project, you know, now or 1 year later, but these are lifelong, right? If you nail them, you know, maybe you'll make a project, and then maybe you take a bigger challenge, right? And then a bigger challenge. These concepts will help you all your life with anything you do. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you know, you don't go to the gym once and you get jacked. It's like uh, working on mindsets, you know, cognitive distancing, all kind of stuff. You get better at it. Okay. Also, okay, another important thing is you might say, or one might argue, these are not really important, right? And it's fair enough, right? I mean, I've seen it over and over again. Let's say this is your goal, right? Let's say you are here, right? And usually you can progress really far without having these meta knowledge or wisdom. Uh, but let's say this is the familiarity level, right? And then this is, let's say, beginner, right? And then intermediate, and then expert, let's say, and this is the master, right? So, as an example, think about basketball, right? For example, I'm in basketball. Is this the end of the comments? Okay. In basketball, I'm somewhere here, right? Somewhere here, maybe beginner level. Uh, Without these meta concepts, you can go far, right? I mean, if you think about it, why is not everyone LeBron James or Steph Curry, right? It's like you can go here, you can go to the expert level, but if you want to, you know, level up to reach that true mastery, at some point, these guys need to micromanage everything, right? For example, if you are just doing something as a hobby, let's say you are lifting weights, right? You are doing it as a hobby, and then what you eat doesn't really matter, right? It's like you uh, can have some party on the weekend, even at these levels, right? Maybe you are a football player, and sometimes once in a week, maybe on the weekends, you can drink some couple of drinks, eat some pizza. It won't maybe affect you too much. But if you really want to reach that top level, right? And this can be your personal limit, or you know, whatever you want to reach. And there is no absolute true what how do you call it? What's the word for it? There's no objective absolute goal that you need to reach. But what I'm trying to explain is after some point of expertise, you need to micromanage everything, right? As I said, let's say you are lifting weights and you are into bodybuilding as a hobby, right? You just want to be healthy and you just want to look good and all that stuff. And then, you know, maybe you uh, have some drinks, eat some fast food now and then, and it won't affect you. Or, you know, you can fuck around sometimes. But if you want to, as opposed to if you wanted to really prepare for a Olympics, or you know, what was it called? The bodybuilding championship, and then you micromanage everything, right? You count your sets, you count your reps, you count your calories, all that shit, right? And after some level, you need to do it because this is how people become really good at something, right? And this is kind of extreme, and there is no, uh, I mean, I'm not saying everybody go this extreme, right? But this is just something to keep in mind, right? There's a threshold, like this is like a point of no return, right? After some point, you need to micromanage everything, right? What you feed your mind with, what you eat, how you sleep, who you hang out with, what kind of influences do you have on your life, on your mind, on your art, on your creative process, everything, right? And this is specifically important. I mean, if you just want to, you know, do it lightheartedly, that's okay, right? But if you take on a big project, and then these become really important because you'll need all the mental energy, all efficiency, all libido you have to a maximum, right? So uh, yeah, I'm not saying just start micromanaging at the start, but that's something to think about, right? Uh, yeah. Also, working on your mind also leads to better goal setting and better ways to strategize. Uh, yeah. So, okay, this is the what part, right? To recap, it's all about being clear on what do you want and, you know, putting the mindset, getting the mindset right, identity, uh, ideally applying, or adapting a growth mindset, and what else? Core beliefs, right? And cognitive distancing, taking care of your mind, and yeah, all that. So this is first part. Okay, I'll just let you guys take a screenshot if you want to. Just being here in Discord regularly is hugely helpful. So true, just surround yourself with influences. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to, if you want to play basketball, you don't need to just stalk Steph Curry and do weird shit. But just being around people who just does shit, right? I mean, if you hang out with people who smoke weed and watch TV all day, well, yeah, you can guess what's gonna happen. But if you are around people who have goals, big or small, doesn't matter. It's just being around people who are onto something, right? They are not just existing, they are living the life. They are chasing some goals, they are doing something with their lives. That's the broad uh, approach, I think. Influences, support structures, all that, yeah. Okay. Uh, I just need to get away from PC just for a second. I'll be right back, guys. At the same time, I think it will be nice if we take a break between these. Uh, yeah, and I'll let you take a note or something like that. Right, I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I got myself a water, so I want to lose my voice. All right, so first part was the what part, right? And then second part. Second part is why part. As I said before thinking about how you are gonna do it, so important to have that clear reason, right? Clear why. You know that quote from Nietzsche, like how was it? Who has a strong why can bear anyhow, something like that. So if you have a strong enough reason, dude, you can basically move mountains, and uh, that's really weird, right? We don't really understand that, you know. Uh, Mothers lifting cars to save their babies, all that uh, so-called urban legends, but they are not legends at all. When you have a really strong enough reason, there are some weird shit happening in our beings, and we start doing stuff that we are not able to do otherwise, right? Right, so the what part was the mind part, right? Why part is the heart part, right? This is about the heart. This is, you know, your soul's desire, let's say. And this is also meaning and purpose. Just to make it clear, purpose is not the goal, right? You might have a goal. Purpose is why you are doing it. So you might, your goal might be, uh, create an animation, and the purpose is why do you want it? Why do you want to do it, right? And the purpose could be, like inspire people, help people, I don't know, lift people up, whatever it is, right? Or spread joy, spread good vibes, whatever it is. And I think I talked about this in a couple streams before, like, your deep purpose might be something like that, like, inspire people or, help people. And surface level goal could be anything, right? You can do the same goal, you can achieve the same purpose with sculpting, drawing, painting, storytelling, movie, filmmaking, uh, animation, whatever it is. And then uh, usually the artist's journey kind of familiar with entrepreneur's journey, right? Because they are both on we are both because when you are doing something creative, by definition, if it's something creative, it's like something that's never done before. You might be operating in a specific genre, but still you don't 100% know that will sell well or the market will want it. There is some uncertainty, right? So it's kind of hard and tough. But yeah, so when it comes to why, right, this is like the meaning and purpose, also, core values. So is this goal align with the core values you have, right? The thing I was talking about earlier, like if you want to get rich, if that's the goal, and you believe rich people are evil and greedy, so this is in conflict with your core values or core beliefs. Also, uh, yeah, that's more like the mind. part, but yeah, let's move on. So the main thing I want to talk about in this topic is, as I said, it's if you are doing something creative, it's uncertain territory, right? It will be risky, and it's a long journey as well. Like it's a long, long journey. If you really do something worthwhile, uh, it's a desert, right? Sometimes, let's say your goal is to become even even become a good painter, dude. From zero, it takes decades to get good at something, right? Like learning to draw, learning fundamentals, perspective, shading, anatomy, figure drawing, gesture drawing, values, color theory. All this stuff takes decades, dude. I mean, look at the best guys, like Craig Mullins, uh, I don't know, Glen Keane, right? Look at the comic book artists, right? Best comic book artists. They are all seniors. They are like doing it for 3 decades, 4 decades, and it takes a long time. And this long of a time, sometimes you are in a desert, sometimes it's winter, sometimes it's summer. When it's summer, it's okay, right? Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's rainy. Uh, I mean, these shit will happen, right? No matter who you are, no matter where you are gonna get sick, or someone you love is gonna get sick, or you are gonna lose someone. Shit's gonna happen, right? Nobody gets away from these lives. Let's call it tragedies. And there are winters, uh, deserts, plateaus. There are good times, bad times. I mean, when it's good, right? But the why part is your. It's like your Kevlar vest, right? The really strong purpose and meaning, it's like protecting you from all the storms, all the shit that's happening in life that will keep you from quitting, right? Because if you have that strong purpose, I mean, as I said, if you are doing it, usually, personally, if I'm doing something only for a weak purpose, I won't go far away, right? And this is also backed by science. People, I mean us, if if an activity is mandatory, we just do the exact amount we need to do, right? But if we are doing something because we love it, we always go the extra mile. For example, I mean, I've never seen someone paying taxes more than they need to, right? I mean, that would be so funny, right? But, you know, making food for kids, for your kids, you will do much more, right? You are not just making the minimum necessary, you are, making extra bonuses, desserts, all that, dessert, all that stuff because you love them, right? So anything you love, you will always go the extra mile. And this can be love or this can be passion, whatever it is. It's at this level, it's that really strong purpose. And this is all it's about, right? This is your resolve. So, yeah, this is having a strong purpose will keep you going with nothing else. Literally, nothing else. Not coffee, not any kind of stimulants, not even motivation, right? Motivation is, it comes and goes. Also, not even willpower. Willpower is also limited. It's a limited resource. Yeah, but in your heart, if you really want something, and you get clear in your purpose, dude, that propels you forward like nothing else. I mean, I've come to the edge of quitting anything I'm doing for decades so many times, but I always had that resolve, come back to my purpose, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this, right? When anytime I come back to that core purpose, and this can be really lost. I mean, I'm talking about 2 decades, 3 decades here, right? I'm giving an example of a really long-term, lifelong practice, but even, even in a month, you can forget why you started something. I mean, hell, I just sometimes I do these long cardio workouts. At the start of the run, I'm all hyped, right? I'm all motivated, hyped. But after I run like 10K, maybe I want to do a 20K. Dude, here I'm lost. My mind is literally blank. I'm like, what am I doing? Right? I'm like a zombie running. So, these are the things that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, there will be tough times. And in those tough times, only thing that you can rely on is this, right? So again, if you realize, I'm not even talking about how you are gonna do what you are gonna do, right? So this comes from this comes before anything else. I mean, the first thing is, getting clear on what you want, and second thing is, why do you want it? So yeah, oops, I just dropped my phone. Okay, an example, a good example would be like, most artists, writers, entrepreneurs grind on their craft for decades, right? Maybe sometimes they keep going without getting paid, like months, years, and it's really tough. And, Stephen King, he was writing for the years, dude. It's like he made his first like actual good sale after like 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And but he keeps writing, right? Because he has that deep resolve. And it can be anything, right? I can't tell you what your purpose is, only you can find it in your heart. But maybe it's just identity, right? You can just tell to yourself, I'm this person and this is what I do. And you can just go like that. Or this can be something big or huge, or this can be some trauma, right? Something happened to you, and then that led to something else. Like, something bad happened to you, and then your purpose is to prevent that happening to other people. Maybe something like that. So yeah, so this desert and winters, these are all metaphors I'm giving to explain those tough times. Yeah, at the end of the day, this is not a picnic, right? This journey is not a weekend picnic. There will be good times. There will be really fucking tough times that will test the fuck out of you, that will almost destroy your soul. But yeah, as long as you have this, you'll keep going. And that's the only important thing, right? If you ask any successful person, like, I don't know, if you ask LeBron James, what's the most important thing? They will tell something like practice, discipline, consistency, not giving up, right? You just hear it from pretty much any successful person. So yeah, only thing that will get you through this tough adventure is is an unshakable resolve and purpose and meaning. Not money, not talent, not positive thinking, not coffee, not willpower, not motivation, nothing. And this is where we answer questions like, let's say you want to do something, right? Usually what people want is they want immediate results, right? It's like, it's like farming. They put down some seeds and they wait for a week and then they give up, or they dig up and see what's up, right? No, it doesn't work like that. It's like, patience. Maybe you want to chase some dreams, and maybe to achieve that, you need to work in Starbucks for 6 months to save money or something like that, right? Or save time, whatever it is. This is the place where you ask questions like, can you go and live with your parents for 2 years to achieve your goals, to save some money? Or can you work on McDonald's for a couple of months? I don't know, some bullshit that our egos don't want, right? Because if you have an ego that wants the latest Mercedes and that wants the latest iPhone, the latest I shit, latest I that I this, uh, or if your ego can't handle being in the lowest, what was it called? Status, being in the lowest status, right? Because let's say if you are 30 years old and you want to do something that you've never done before, maybe you are a painter, you want to be a painter, and you want to work in the industry. You start as a junior, right? Just even calling someone junior in 30 years old, your ego doesn't want it, right? So stuff like this, right? It's really important. This is more like the mind level, but it's really important to put the ego aside and really ask the tough questions, like, and again, it comes from the heart, right? Because I'm gonna give a specific example, or maybe, I don't know if it's gonna be relatable, but when you're really angry, really pissed, right? Your logical mind shuts down, right? You just want to fist the motherfucker in the face, or someone cuts you in traffic, you just want to smash into their car, right? This is like that. This is the negative version, right? This is the positive version. If you have that burning desire, burning purpose, that insane resolve, you won't give a fuck about working in Starbucks or whatever shitty situation you are currently in. You'll just get through this, right? Yeah, as I said before, I think I explained this in another stream, but so purpose can be something deeper, right? It can be to inspire, it can be lift people up, I don't know, raise vibes, spread good vibes, whatever it is for you, right? And the one way to really find this is think about your childhood, right? What was that thing that made you really fucking alive, right? And that made you forget about everything, forget about time, that you went crazy on it, right? So thinking about those activities will give you a hint, and your goal may not be those activities, but the purpose underneath would be the same. And this is not, I'm not 100% sure, but I literally, like 80% believe that we already have our purpose when we are born. Because every shit I'm doing, these are all the stuff I was doing in my childhood at this level, right? I wasn't doing most of the stuff at the surface level, but the purpose is the same, right? I was, I was jumping on stuff, jumping over the walls. We were doing it all the time. We were discovering shortcuts between the buildings, between the neighborhoods. And when I grew up, I started doing parkour, right? I was like 7 years old, and I would just draw game levels like Mario, right? Platformer levels, and I made the kids in the neighborhood, like I would just put my pencil here. You know those phone games that the character is constantly running. You just click and it jumps. I was making this on a sketchbook, and I would sell this for 1 liras. I would just earn money from letting people play the games. I would just really go into this, draw it really well, and people would like to play. And I was just making money by doing this when I was 7 years old, right? Again, this is not the surface level, same thing, but the underlying purpose, what this made me feel was having someone or giving someone an interactive experience that they feel achieve something, they feel good. This was the core purpose, right? And pretty much everything I do is like that. But yeah, it's like the deep level purpose can be anything, right? Let's say it's expressing creative energy, right? This can be your purpose. At the surface level, this can be dancing, this can be painting, I don't know, this can be public speaking. What else? It can be music, it can be sculpting. So the core purpose is the same. How you achieve that can be different, right? So yeah, this is where you go deep and find that really deep purpose. Again, don't stress yourself to find this instantly, because in life we are here, and it's like a car traveling in a long road, right? You A car only lights up in front of it, but if you have a map, you know where you are going, right? If you are on the correct uh, what is it called, autobahn road, you know that road will take you there, but you just need to see just enough that you don't crash into anything, right? Same with life. We are here, we set a purpose and set a goal, right? You can think about it as a mountain. We go here, and then we are like, oh shit, I see more now, right? There are bigger mountains. And then you aim there, you go there, and you see this one, you go there. As you move through the journey, you start seeing more and more, and you start getting better, and you can set better purposes, or your purpose might get deeper, or it can extend. uh, so yeah, this is not something you need to go crazy, like I need to find that deeper. No, it's not something like that. It's like just at least having some idea about why we are doing anything is so important and so helpful, especially when starting something. So yeah, your resolve is basically is why do you want it, right? It's like, what does it mean to you? Let's say you want to be a painter. Okay, what does it mean to you really deep down in your heart? Why do you really want it, right? If you honestly ask yourself these questions, and then maybe your heart comes up with a reason, and then you ask why again, like a child. uh, let's say you ask, and then it says something, and then you say why, and it says something, you say why again, and you follow these whys, and you reach into the core reason. And most of the time, all these stuff that are in between ourselves and the core purpose, these are unnecessary, because I mean, I've had these experiences. You might have fixated on this, but your purpose is this, right? Maybe this is just a waste of time. Maybe you can just start here, right? Stuff like that. And yeah, what does it mean to you? Why do you want it, right? Uh, you know, I think what does it mean to you is a good question. Why do you want it? This stuff will make you really clear, and digging deeper into your soul, you find deeper meaning and deeper purposes. Uh, yeah, it's like your deep purpose can be like, express beauty, and it can be with painting, drawing, sculpting, animation. So yeah, it's also something that frees you from fixating on a specific surface level thing, right? Because I've seen it over and over again. Uh, Actually, this is how I changed my profession more than, like, I don't know, 3 times, 4 times. I used to do interior design, and then I was doing animation, and I was doing modeling, and I was doing illustration. Like, these mean nothing to you, and nothing to me, right? I mean, it's not nothing, but when you are here, surface level stuff is like, uh, they are not completely meaningless. I think that's wrong. Just I'm taking it back. They are not meaningless, but this is the important thing, right? You can achieve this with lots of different stuff. And I'm not like, I'm not like studying art and then switching to law. It's not something like that, but you can, jump into adjacent stuff. And it's really easy, right? Because if you know drawing, it's easy to take on sculpting and stuff like that. Or if you know how to draw, uh, it's easy to get into tattooing, something like that. So yeah, whatever shape your environment takes, you can basically adapt, right? Again, this is also something to do with not being fixated on a surface level goal. And the reason I'm really sure about it is, if you think about successful companies, they all start with a specific goal, right? And they have a purpose. For example, Pixar. Pixar started as a tech company. Did you know that? They were selling graphics cards like in 70s, 80s, something like that. I'm not sure about the date, but and then they started doing animation, right? They made some money from selling graphics cards, uh, and then they switched to animation. And there are lots of examples like this, right? Most companies start with a goal. They wanted to do A, and they end up doing B, but the purpose is the same. Right, so it's like maybe they start doing A, and then market, pulls them, or market wants B, and then they are doing B. I mean, they are not things that are completely different from each other, but yeah, the purpose is the same, right? This doesn't change. And there are lots of infinite amounts of examples of this. Like, you can see successful people like this. So yeah, what else? Let's see. Again, the Nietzsche quote, right? Uh, if you have a strong reason, you can bear. I don't remember the quote, but if you have a strong why, you can bear anyhow. Something like that. Again, same with belief. I think I just talked about it, but same with the mind part, same with belief part, same with mindset. This is not something that you achieve overnight. This is something, as I said, as you go through the journey, you develop. You can also think about it as a skill, right? whenever you are gonna do something, if you just for 10 seconds think about why you are doing it, dude, it will change the activity so much. All right. Uh, yeah. So as I said, it's a lifelong process. We are always discovering deeper layers of your being, right? We are growing up, we are learning, we are evolving, and discovering deeper and deeper purposes. And operating at this level also protects you from, as I said, the life's challenges and toughness. At the same time, you know, everybody has their part, is their what do you call it? Their seasons in their lives that it's like you don't know what you are doing, right? We feel like we are lost, or or the thing we were doing starts feeling like it's empty and hollow, and we feel like we need to do something else, right? This is not a sign of failure. This is a sign for you to get deeper, maybe horizontally or maybe vertically, right? And it protects you from these the fog, let's say, right? So yeah, so far we established these, right? So you have a strong vision, right? Strong vision, strong, or let's say clear vision about what do you want and who you want to become, what do you want to achieve, right? Clear vision and a strong reason. Uh, and the next part is how part. But let me check if I skipped something. Okay, so let's talk about a bit more about this, right? If you are just starting your journey, maybe you are just inspired by a painter, right? And you want to paint. It might be some surface level stuff like this. And how do you find your purpose, right? As I said, uh, it's really easy, right? Thinking about your childhood experiences and the most fun you had, not thinking about the activities, but the underlying vibe, right? What did you feel, or what made you about that activity feel you that specific way, or made you feel that passion? It's like it can be playing video games, playing with friends. It can be a TV show you are watching, whatever it is, right? The underlying thing, and you can easily get an idea, at least get an idea about what your true purpose in life is, right? Or you can think about times where you were really engaged with something, right? It's like your nervous system is your nervous system your is like your, what do you call it, compass, right? How do you know something is meaningful to you? You completely engage in it, right? It's like you forget about time, you forget about your bills to pay, forget about where you are. You are just completely engaged with it. This is called flow state, the zone, right? Your nervous system basically tells you when you are doing something meaningful. And if you engage in the activity fully, you just forget about everything else. Time and space disappears, and you just flow. And thinking about those moments, you felt really present. Really, you felt one with the activity. Engaged, alive. So yeah, this can be in your childhood. This can be in the past or recent past. It doesn't matter, right? But the purpose is the same. right? Let's see. Okay, let's for an example, you might love to sing when you were a kid, right? But you can end up doing voice acting or working in a radio station, whatever it is, or VTubing, right? The the activity can change as you grow up, but the underlying purpose is the same, right? You want to feel that feeling or feel that meaning and purpose when you were singing when you were a child. And you grow up, you do a completely different activity maybe, but the underlying purpose can change. That sounds way too optimistic to be Nietzsche. I know, right? It's weird. But Nietzsche was a complete absolute G when it comes to uh, getting out of dualistic thinking. So yeah, as a general rule, intrinsic reasons, intrinsic reasons like personal reasons are more powerful than extrinsic ones because extrinsic ones are like approval, approval, like status, money, stuff like that. These are also valid and all good, but intrinsic ones are usually much more powerful, right? So I'm just gonna suggest another awesome book about this. Let's see. Uh, Start with. Alright. This is a really compact, short book. I think it's like I don't know, 10K page, 1K pages, something like that. I don't remember. So, Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Uh, this is a book that really talks about all the things that I was talking about in this part of this blueprint. He gets a bad rep from a lot of people. He's a good one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Need to read more of him. Yeah. I mean, most of those, classics, in high school, you probably get a homework to read them. But because it's uh, enforced, because you need to do it, you usually don't give your attention. You just need to get along. I've read most of them in high school or middle school, but I don't remember anything about them. And the ones I read after I graduated, the ones I read voluntarily, I'm like, dude, what did I miss, right? But I think Nietzsche is insane, man. I think my favorites is Nietzsche and Dostoevsky when it comes to the legends, the classics. I haven't read a lot, but yeah. Anyways, next part is production. Right, so as I said, clear vision, right? Getting clear on what you want, who you want to become, and finding that strong reason that will get you through any hardship, any stormy weather. And then we have the hard part. And this part is getting down to it and figuring out the best strategy that will get you to your goals. Yeah, so let's pull this up like this. And something like this. Okay, next part. And we have the clear vision, right? We have the strong reason, and then it's time to figure out how are we going to achieve this. So it's like getting down to it, getting our hands not at this stage, but getting down to planning, right? This is planning. and strategy. And this is where you lay down everything, figuring out which parts are you gonna delegate, which parts are you gonna buy, or which parts are you gonna do yourself. And figuring out the best strategy and the most efficient strategy that will fulfill you the most and earn you the most income, right? The fulfillment. I don't know if I wrote this right. And income, right? The best income, the maximum amount of income you can get, and the maximum fulfillment you can get from this journey. The highest income and the most happiness also can be freedom, because in my mind, at least, uh, for me, freedom is more important than income, because income can give you freedom, but if you get both, that's much better, right? Okay, so yeah, before starting this part again, let's take a small break because this is gonna be something, right? So I let you guys chill out a bit. Nietzsche is always a fun time. And it's not a easy read, right? I mean, for me, when I was in middle school and high school, I wasn't really smart. No, I mean, at least I wasn't smart enough to read Nietzsche and understand it. It's weird that they give those books as homework. I don't know. I mean, uh, but I'm just talking for myself, right? It's so funny. Even if I read it, I didn't understand most of it. But then, I read those in my 30s. I'm like, holy shit. Anyways, small break, guys. I'll be right back. Get some drinks or maybe get a coffee and we keep going. Hope this is helpful and this will be much better. Uh, yeah, be right back. All right, we are back. So let's see. Okay, this part is mostly the concepts I got from another awesome book. Let's see, called Unscripted. This one. This is also a book. I kind of have a book suggestion for every part. This is also a hugely important book that changed my mind, life so much. I'm so grateful that I read this book. It's so amazing, and this book is endless. I pretty much can guarantee that will just hit you so hard if you read this book. Again, I have nothing to do with the sellers or the authors with these books. I'm just, I don't get any any income from people buying it. These are just books I just uh, found really helpful. So the concept here I want to talk about is it's like uh, there are like, he calls these concepts scents, right? These are let's write it like this: scents, and these are control, entry, need, time, scale. Right? These are some commandments we need to honor to, you know, to have a what do you call it? To have a beneficial production, let's say. Okay, so let's start with control. What is control? So control is ideally the way you go with your projects and go with your production is the more control you have, better it is. The more freedom you have. It's like I've seen it over and over again, right? It's like I've seen people, maybe I don't know, they are designers, right? And they go to school and then they reach this level, right? And then they just they improve themselves or they learn shit just enough to get a job, and then they start working on that job and they don't learn new stuff and they just go like that, right? So what's the problem here? Your job can disappear, right? You might get laid off. If you get laid off, well, you are fucked, right? Even if you don't get laid off, it's like, the people I see, they live like this, right? They don't keep growing, they don't keep learning new stuff. It's like a hollow way of being, right? It's not fun. Uh, so control part is like, I'm not saying a 9 to 5 job is a bad thing, but having other options. Let's say you go to school, you develop yourself, and you find a job. Okay, that's all good. But at the side, if you keep improving yourself, keep adding other skills and abilities into your toolkit, you'll have other options, right? And that will give you some control over your life. You are not dependent to one job. That's where literally one person has the power to fuck your life up, right? If they say you are fired, game over, right? You are in a crisis. Not game over, but you are in a crisis. But if you have other tools and other options, if you can be the best you can, you'll have other options, other job opportunities maybe, Yeah, right. So the control part is like having the most control in your life and in your production. It's like, yeah, this is all about control and freedom, right? Control and freedom. So let's say you want to be a painter, right? That's the example I've been giving. You can basically, if you are a painter, there are paths you can go, right? You can work in industry, and this can be video game studio, right? This can be animation studio. This can be, I don't know, some design studio, whatever it is, illustration, something like that. Or you can go uh, sell prints, and that's all you do, right? And you can make a living out of it. It's not impossible. And maybe you can be just a fine artist, right? Or you can still work in the industry but freelance, right? There are lots of paths. The concept here is choosing the path that will provide you the most control and freedom, and the path that's most authentic to you, right? There is no one correct, one right path for everyone, but some people are, naturally industrious and they love to work in industry. They will take this path. Some people want to be more independent. They will take this path, right? This is something that you should choose according to your specific personality and character and authentic desires. But the more control you have, more happier you become. It's really that simple. And there's lots of studies done by behavior sciences. Like basically, the number one thing that determines people's happiness in their lives, control, right? It's autonomy. Is it written like this? Anyways, control and autonomy. It doesn't have to be literal. It can even be the feeling. The more you feel you have control over your life and your circumstances, more happy you become, right? And this is huge. I'm not talking about happy as when you eat a chocolate. I'm not talking about that temporary happiness. This is like permanent happiness, right? And this is also related to survival, as I talked about here. Uh, you need to build your house in a solid ground, right? It shouldn't be tied to one person that can fire you, or even if that happens, you need some other backup stuff, right? Uh, yeah, it's like the main indicators of happiness. So again, I'm not shitting on 9 to 5, right? It's not about that, but just if you are working in a company, how much control do you have, right? Are you working in that company just to pay the bills, just to work in a job, just because you need a job, or is it a company you really fully trust, or is it your only option, right? Most of the times, life is tough. Most of the times we don't have any options, but this is just something to keep in mind and work on it. Create for yourself as many opportunities as you can, as many safety nets. So when something happens, you don't fall to the concrete and break your head, right? Uh, yeah, I mean, I've had lots of friends which are really, really good. I'm One of them were working on Nickelodeon. They got laid off, man. I mean, they are a really awesome artists. They are working in fucking Nickelodeon and they just got laid off. And they did all their they just adjusted all their work. They moved to the place. I don't remember where was it. Yeah, they just got laid off, and it's just fucked up. I mean, they are a good artist. They can find other jobs, but it's just uh, random debuffs you get in life, right? Or if you are self-employed, you know, how are you managing your copyrights, right? If you are working freelance for a studio, right? If you are desperate, you'll do whatever they ask. But if you have other options, you know, you can say no, right? And these are so important stuff. And like, usually, people who hire you or people who communicate with you, HR people, dude, these people will smell desperation out of you. If you have no other options, they will fucking smell it, and they will give you funny amounts of prices, and because you need it, you'll have to say yes, and you'll work for peanuts. Right? I mean, I've been there. I've lived it. It's so insane. I've been in situations where I need to get a job. If I don't, I'm fucked, right? And I'm negotiating with someone, which I'm gonna do something for them, and they sense that I'm desperate and I need that gig. They are like, nope, this is the price. Take it or leave it, right? And I'm like, okay. I mean, I've been there, right? I'm not trying to be obnoxious, but uh, I've been there, and it sucks. You don't want to be in this situation. So yeah, having control is huge. It's so important. So if you, generally speaking, if you work for big companies, there is more resources, right? There's like you have more resources, but you have less control. As opposed to if you go solo or indie, if you work for indie studios, you have more control. If you work in a smaller studio, you have more control, but less resources. Right? Again, this comes down to personal preference, like authentic desires, what kind of life you are gonna be content with. But yeah, uh, but also, the world is changing. You don't need to go work with a giant studio. That's out of the question, out of the equation. It's not. I mean, it's not. If it was 1910, maybe you need to, be a cog in the, be a gear in the cog in the gear, whatever it is. But yeah, today we have so many opportunities that, dude, you can just think about it. Uh, you are one person, and you roughly know 1K people, right? And those 1,000 people know 1,000 people as well. And it's like you are just 2 people away from 1 million people. Just think about it. And you can just reach them with internet. And this is so insane. It doesn't matter what you do. Even if you are collecting butterflies, you can find someone who's into it. That's so insane about the ages, the times we live in, right? I mean, I was with my niece just an hour ago. My younger niece was watching some uh, weird weird show, right? It's show. It's not a TV show, but some dude just opening up the camera and using the camera's face app, making his mouth bigger and all that, just doing weird shit, right? Talking stupid shit. It's basically some dumb shit. He's like, I don't know, he is like 3 million views per video. Like he's making a living out of this, right? It's not even a job. He's just opening the camera and, you know, saying like blah 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 blah, right? It's like you can even do this and make a living. It's not a question anymore. So, anyways, uh, I hope this is clear, right? It's control and freedom. So let's give an example. So let's say you are developing a game, right? So are you gonna publish it by yourself? Or this can be comics as well, right? Are we gonna go self-publishing? Or publishing company? Right? This can be just a single choice in this long journey. In there are lots of choices, but this is one of them. So are you gonna go self-publishing or going with a publishing company, right? Image Comics, something like that. So usually publishing company takes some percent, right? But if that percent isn't just enough to cover the expenses, it doesn't make sense, right? But if you go self-publishing, you might use different methods, you might save money, but then you need to deal with all the marketing and all that by yourself. It's not impossible, it's more work. It's just, again, it comes down to authentic preferences, your strengths and weaknesses, what you are willing to learn, what you want to learn, what you don't want to learn. If you want to deal with it, you can just go this path. If you don't want to deal with it, you can just hire a company to publish your product, and you can go like that, right? Again, these are not wrong or right approaches. As long as publishing company, let's say you are making 1 million, and publishing company asks you 1.5 million upfront, then you are 500k minus 500k, right? That's not a good. That's not a good deal. So as long as you cover your expenses and make some profit, these are the paths. So ideally, self-publishing has more control, right? But more control requires more work. So yeah, this is like a trade-off, right? Trade-off that you need to do. Or maybe someone that can handle the marketing and sales and PR, all that, and then you can go like that. So, but what it comes down to is just always. I mean, I do this with every choice I make with my life. Anytime I need to make a choice, I always consider these. We are going to talk about these as well, but the most important thing is I always try to choose the option that I have the most control, right? So yeah, that's control. Let's talk about entry. So entry is like this is a concept about saturation, right? If you think about drawing and cure for cancer. So I think you can easily tell how many people are here and how many people are here, right? How many people are trying this and how many people are doing this, right? So entry is like the entry barriers. The easier something, that's at least one decision I've already made. Nice, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've figured it. Actually, you already told me that, right? So, anyways, drawing, how hard to, how hard to get into drawing. It's like, you just pick a pencil, and a paper. And how much this cost? Like $1, $2. How much is it? Like it's almost free, right? you can just ask for a paper from someone else, right? Or ask for a pen, and you can start drawing. It's like virtually free, and it's open to anyone, right? There is no gatekeeper that you need to convince. It's like free. Anyone can do it. So how many people are in the world right now? Is it like 8 billion? Like you are competing with 8 billion people, right? If you think about it, it's not a competition, but if you think about it, it's like the entry is that open, as opposed to if you are trying to find cure for cancer. First of all, you need lots of approval from lots of different organizations to publish that cure, right? Lots of different. You need to have lots of knowledge and lots of stuff. Uh, but yeah, I have no idea, but it's pretty much more or less. I think there are much more or less people who are trying to find a cure for cancer, right? So this is the idea, the entry. The easier something is, or yeah, easier something that's to get into, the more people the more people it will contain, and as a result, there will be more competition, right? As opposed to the here, no or less competition, right? So again, you can also think about in subcategories, right? You might be into drawing, but you are drawing in such a specific style, or maybe you are drawing with something that nobody has used before. That might be your niche, right? Something like that. It's not like, if you are drawing, it's impossible. But usually in creative domains, they are usually easy to enter. But naturally, everyone has a unique voice, just like everyone has a unique voice. We all have unique styles. And if you develop that, then you can become valuable, let's say. Yeah, this is something like that. Easier something is to do, more people there will be, and eventually there will be more competition. And yeah, this is like anyone can do it, right? Pencil, paper, so easy. But finding a cure for cancer, I mean, if I would just go try this, I have no idea where would I start, right? What do I fucking learn first? Do I learn biology, chemistry? What the fuck? Like, there are lots of shit you need to learn, you need to study. So yeah, again, as I said, when it comes to creative stuff like art, it's more about authenticity and your unique voice than to drawing better than someone else. It's not like a fundamentally it's not competition, right? Usually, you don't compare two modern dancers to each other and say like, oh, this person is a better dancer. It doesn't work like that, right? If you are doing that, you are not getting it. I mean, I've seen people comparing artists like comparing a Disney artist and a comic book artist. I've seen people doing it, and it's so funny. Like comparing Glen Kane with I don't know Jim Lee. Like who draws better? What the fuck? Right? It's not about that. It's not about being better than someone else. It doesn't work like that. I mean, there are some situations you might compete with someone. Maybe you want to land a job, and there are other people applying, right? You need to compete with them, but you are not like competing like in sports, right? It's not like a real time competition when you are applying for a job. It's like uh, the things you did at to that point kind of competes, right? It's not fundamental to this specific thing. It's like how much you studied, how much you developed yourself, something like that. But yeah, there are still things to consider, right? If you are, let's say drawing, right? This is really, I think this is a really good example. And then, I mean, drawing is a broad category, right? You can virtually go so many different paths. You can be a fine artist, you can be a caricature artist, you can be comic book artist, you can branch to tattooing here. There are lots of, this is like a starting point, right? This is like a gateway drug. And then you switch to something else. So it can be a genre, right? Maybe you are drawing in a specific style, or you are operating in a specific genre. It can be a, you know, you could be drawing horror stuff, or you can be drawing in a specific style, right? And then, or it can be the medium, right? Maybe, I don't know, I can't think of any example, but maybe you are using some weird stuff to draw on wood or something, right? And nobody else does it, and then you have no competition. Basically, you have only one person that does it. Or maybe you are doing graffiti, right? Maybe it can be something like that. So as unique as it goes, no, I said it wrong. More unique it is, less competition you have, and you know, ideally and potentially you'll have less competition and more success, right? Maybe people will copy you, but who cares? But let's take style. uh, or let's think about it like this. Let's say you are designing t-shirts. So how many people are doing it? Like a lot of people, right? Because it's a saturated market. And again, this doesn't mean don't do it if lots of people are doing it. It means if you are gonna do it, if you are gonna enter into something that's really open, you need to be exceptional, right? You need to be really good. To I'm not talking about fame or stuff like that. To get some value out of it, you need to be exceptional to make some coins, income, make a living, right? Uh, but as opposed to if you find a cure for cancer, but let's say there are some side effects, right? Side effects. Maybe it's a huge side effect. Maybe you cure the cancer, but you lose. What do you lose? You lose one of your ears. Lose one ear. People still will buy it, right? It doesn't need to be exceptional. But just imagine you find a cure for cancer, but when you are cured, you lose one of your ears. Dude, people will still buy it no matter what. Because, would you prefer dying or losing one ear? Right? So it's something like that. So it doesn't mean don't enter if there's a saturated market, but you need to be really good either on the craft or either in marketing, sales, whatever it is, right? So yeah. And like, let's pick style, right? If you think about style, uh just think about Giger. Is it pronounced Giger? Geiger? The alien guy? Giger? So if you think about it, there is no one drawing like Giger. At least uh, when he was active, right? I mean, there are lots of people copying him and getting inspired from him, but like Geiger, okay, Geiger. Uh, But yeah, the this dude is like, it's so specific. Also, style is specific, right? His style is specific. Also, the genre is specific. Also, the topics. So how he does it is specific, and what he tells with his craft is specific. It's everything is very unique. That's why he is so iconic, right? As opposed to if you are just drawing Disney style, right? I mean, how many people there are drawing in Disney style, right? If you think about it, if you just go onto DeviantArt and type Disney style, dude, it's like infinite pages, right? There are so many people drawing Disney style. But again, this is not to say don't draw it in Disney style. I'm not saying that because think about Glen Keane, right? Glen uh, Keane. Sorry if I murdered his name, but he draws in Disney style, right? But when you see one of his sketches, I mean, at least I know instantly that it's his sketch, right? He draws in a specific style, but it's so authentic to him. He also adds something, he brings something new to the table, something unique. It's in a specific style, but it's so him at the same time. So he really embraces this style and put something, right? Adds to it. So it's not like uh, just following the uh, specific, what do you call it? He's not just following the style, like you draw the eyes this way, you draw the mouth this way. He's just embracing it and making it something authentic, right? So this is something to consider, right? When you are thinking about the style. So what were we saying? Like, did I type? Right, let's say you are making a comic or making a game, right? And then when you are making a comic, you are choosing a style, right? I mean, even if it's your style, but you can change your voice, right? You can talk with a different voice uh, or different volume, stuff like that. You can think about it like that because everybody has different ways of drawing uh, or different ways of telling something. So yeah, this is something to think about. Also, this is not only for style, as I said. This applies to pretty much anything. Like if you think about game, I mean, since there are lots of free game engines, it's much easier, right? There's Unreal Engine, Unreal 5, and it's literally free, right? So it's a market that's literally free to enter. But then there's more competition and all that. Also, one of the things that internet did is like it just eliminated lots of gatekeepers, right? Let's think about music. Before the internet, there are all these uh, music publishing companies, right? Since music existed, since industrial age existed, and you need to convince one of these guys to publish your album, right? But now it's not a thing anymore. You can just make whatever music you want and put it on Spotify. So same with comics, right? You can just draw, paint, ink your comic, just produce it and just self-publish it. Same with games, same with lots of stuff, right? So these are stuff that's that's helpful to put some thought in it. And yeah, as I said, if you draw in an already established style, or if you are operating in an already established genre or medium, it doesn't really matter. But if you are adding nothing new, that's, it's really hard to stand out unless your name is Glen Keane, right? So yeah, this is the second commandment, right? This is the entry. Let's make it bold. This is the control. And then we have the need, right? So the need part is where you think about externally, right? Where you put yourself into the shoes of whoever is going to buy what you are producing, right? It's not like what I think, what's cool. It's like who's gonna buy it, right? It's also important to, I think we establish this level, right? What we want and who we want it to deliver to. So who's it for, right? Who's it for? For and who wants it? Who wants it, right? For example, if you are operating in a specific genre, maybe it's horror, right? You need to at least have an idea about people who are into that genre, right? Because you are doing it for them eventually. Uh, so yeah, you need to know who wants it and you need to know about them so you can adjust it better for them. And I think that's the problem with gaming industry lately. Like there are games, people make games, but they are like, I've seen a game trailer, and there was this uh, female narrator, and she was talking about it like this, like she was explaining the game as the game trailer moves on, and she's like, "Why?" Like she's explaining stuff, right? And she's saying stuff like, "You do this in the game, and then you explore, and then you go into adventures, and then you fight your enemies, and then you uh, decrease your enemies' HP bars until they are completely depleted." Like who talks like that? Which gamer talks like that? Right? Are you producing who's it for? Like any gamer knows what HP bar is. You don't need to explain to someone that you need to deplete your enemy's HP bar. Nobody talks like that, right? So yeah, that's an example. Uh, so this is like the need and want, right? Because if you think about it, need and want, if you think about it in terms of money, right? Uh, the way to make money or income is just provide either someone needs or wants, right? There is no, or it's a product or a service, right? Product or service. This is really all there is to it. There's nothing else. You can either sell a product or sell a service to fulfill a want or a need. Need can be, housing, like food, healthcare. If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, these are the needs, right? These are the stuff uh, people need. If you are in the restaurant business, food, right? It's like everybody gets hungry every day. It's like you can't escape it. So every day you'll have someone who wants to eat food. So that's it. That's a good way, right? And needs are kind of necessary. And it's like whenever you are making a food choice, if you don't like somewhere, you can go somewhere else. But you need to eat some food. either here or somewhere else, right? These are necessary, but wants are like more, more related to ego or desires, and these can be manipulated with marketing and sales and influencing. And wants are like, uh, satisfying appetites, stuff like that. And the creative work kind of falls into this category, right? Because no one really needs to listen to music or read comics, but we want it, right? These are the wants category, and these can be influenced in different ways. And again, there's no way, I haven't seen any expert marketer who can guess what the market will want, right? This is not something that you can foresee, but you can kind of make some research and guess and all, make the studies, or if there's an already established, what do you call it, desire for something, you can work on that, right? So yeah, it's like asking the question. uh, we are not talking about the need, right? It's not the need. We are more, if you are in creative domain, we are basically, uh, what do you call it, satisfying people's wants, right? Someone wants to read a specific comic book with a specific story, with a specific style, and then you make that and you sell that to, I don't know, to that, maybe there are 1 million people who want something like that, and you sell it to them, right? Or you make a game, you make a puzzle game, and you make a market research, and maybe there are 5 million people actively playing puzzle games, like you find some examples, and you make a similar game but with some new features and stuff like that. Maybe you hit the mark, right? It's like, asking the question, uh, asking the question, who will want it and what kind of desire we are satisfying here, right? And really, if you think about, uh, at a meta level, whatever we do in life, we earn an income by doing this, right? Needs or wants, and you are just adding some kind of value by a product or a service by satisfying a need or a want, and that's all there is to it. But adding value can mean lots of things, right? Maybe your power is story, and maybe you hit it with that, right? Maybe you hit the mark with that, or maybe drawing style, or maybe it's a different medium, maybe it's a web comic, right? Maybe you do something really new, or yeah, something like that. It's like, combining all the other commandments with the what want, what need, we are satisfying. And yeah, wants are usually the entertainment, right? It's like, it can be cosmetics, art. It's usually more, so needs are needs, right? But wants are usually more about emotions. And that's all creative works are about. Like, if you can make someone feel something, okay, there's a job opportunity, right? If I draw something and someone says, "Oh, that looks fucking cool, man," someone says something like that, and then I say to myself, okay, there's something here, right? Maybe it's the vibe, maybe it's the drawing technique, and then I can work on this more. And if you keep doing it, before you know it, you have something, right? But yeah, when it comes to art and design, even though authentic expression is really important, still these are stuff to consider. Like, what kind of genre are we working on? What kind of emotions your product or artwork generate in people? Again, it's also important to know your audience, because if you are selling children's comic book to someone who reads cyberpunk. Like that's not a good path, right? Knowing your audience, cultural and generational awareness. Like if you are selling something, I don't know, uh, if you are selling a spin-off of a comic book from 90s to Gen X, Gen Z, Gen X, whatever it is, new generation. Uh, it's not impossible, but that's kind of right, weird, or at least harder. But at least there are stuff to consider and keep in mind to make it appealing to these generations. And cultural awareness. It's like again knowing your audience, who will buy it. Are you going to target a specific country or a culture, or is it global, right? Again, when it comes to creative works, these are not really a big deal because we usually communicate like music, right? We communicate with images, and still you can translate. Even if you write a book, it can be translated. And comics like make that international spread a lot. Uh, right? For example, if you were in the 80s, it would be so much different, right? If you think about, tough guy movies like Terminator, Rambo, all that. And 90s is like, Get Out of the Matrix kind of stuff, Fight Club, and all that. So every decade, people like different stuff, right? So it's also important to know what's going on in the industry, or let's say you are a filmmaker, and if you don't watch films or at least know what films are going on, right? It's like, for example, there was this Oppenheimer, right? And if you make a movie with the same topic, but you don't know about Oppenheimer, it will be kind of weird, right? At least you need to know about it to because people have seen it, and this is like it's like this big. And if you do it this big, and if there is not something new, you just do the same thing but this big, people will approach it like, I've seen this, right? So yeah, it's something like that. It's like getting clear on the need, more unique the need you satisfy. It's more, it will be more successful. Don't spoil the ending. I haven't seen it. No, I'm not giving spoilers. So right, I hope this makes sense. It's like, what need are we satisfying, right? It's like, what genre? What is it? Is it like the horror, uh, retro, whatever it is? Okay, next one we have is time. And time, I think I don't want to say the most important. They are all important, but time is really crucial. So whatever path, whatever strategy you choose, it's really important to be independent, right? And this concept is all about independence. And it's like divorcing from the physicality of it, right? I hope they don't build the bomb. Dude, you gotta watch it. So this is about independence, right? It's like in the short term, you can basically go any path, but in the long term, the ideal goal should be like passive income and detachment, right? For example, let's say we have two paths. One path, you are working for a comic book studio, and you are doing it your whole life, like from 20 to 65, and that's a path. Or at the other hand, maybe you work 10 years on your own IP, right? And you work on it until you are 30, and then you publish it. Maybe you hit it big, maybe you don't. This seems like more risky, right? But if you hit it, then you are retired. And then your income is not tied to your time. You have an IP, you can sell it, and you get royalties and all that stuff. And basically, you don't have to work anymore. And then it's not like you are not gonna work, but you don't need to do it. And then the vibe changes so much. After hitting that point where you don't need to do it, and then you really focus on what you really want to do, right? Because if if you have an IP, if you have a successful IP, just imagine you are the person that created Spider-Man. Dude, you literally don't have to work. Or better example is what was the name? The name of the creator of the Star Wars? Guys, help me out. I'm really bad with names. I don't want to Google it. Star Wars. George Lucas. Yeah, Lucas. It's so weird. Lucas Entertainment, but I can't remember it sometimes. Anyways, George Lucas is the richest director. He's way more richer than Steven Spielberg, all the legends. You know why? It's because of this, right? You create an IP, and then it provides income for you all your life, right? But again, this is risky. It's not 100% guaranteed that you are going to make it. But the ideal goal should be some kind of independence, right? You don't want to go crazy all your life, right? You don't want to do it all your life. Ideally, it should be a project, and then you make some amount of income, and then you generate something out of it, or you branch out, something like that. But the ideal in this commandment is like uh, getting detached from having to put time in something to make money. But this is more about the general approach in life, right? Because if you have like 10 million in bank, right? What is it? 1%? Is it 10% yearly? Is the yearly 10%? Without touching the principal, you get like 10%, something like that. Even if it's 5%, even if it's 1% per year, but I'm sure it's not like that. It's like 10% here in Turkey. I don't know. It's pretty much similar around the world. Like it can be 9 or 11. But even if it's a 10%, right? What's the 1% of 10 million? Is it like 100K? Right? 1 million, 100K? Yeah. You just earn 100K by just in your sleep, right? It's something like that. It's the ideal is to reach some place, something like this. I'm giving the example of money, but it's not only about money, but it's about everything. It's about not having to work, right? Let's say you get sick and you can't work for 3 months. If your income is attached to your time, then you are fucked up. You need help, right? So that's not good. So yeah, it's something like that. Having also people when people do business plans, they always make some long-term goals, right? They are like, what are the plans that the what was it called? It's called something. The strategy for to getting out of the business. You know, there are lots of people doing that. They launch a business, they grow that business, and then they sell it. And this is all they do, right? They do it over and over again, and they have a exit strategy. Yeah, it's what's called exit strategy. So you need to have an exit strategy. You don't. I mean, if that's what you want, that's okay. But when it comes to the project, there needs to be an exit strategy, right? So, anyways, uh, time is so important, man. Time is more important than money. Time is not money. That's bullshit. Time is not money. Time is much more important than money, because money, you can save it, right? You can save it. You can make more of it. You can earn it, but you can't earn time. You can only spend it. And once you spend it, you can't make it back. But if you lose money, you can make it back. Right? Time is so much important than money. Time is the most valuable asset we have in life. Right? It's like, have you guys seen the movie In Time? Like, they had how much life left as a time on their wrist. That movie was so insane. Imagine if you have that, right? You would live so much differently. Imagine if you have 10 days left to live, right? What would you do? It's so insane. Time is so much valuable, and time is like, I mean, money, you can find ways to make it. You can save it, you can invest it. Time, you can only spend it or invest it. And yeah, for example, if you are a tattoo artist, right? Again, I'm not shitting on any tattoo artist or any paths, but if you're a tattoo artist, right? Let's say, again, giving the example of drawing, let's say you choose to go and become a tattoo artist, right? Like, if you're a tattoo artist, you need to work for income. As long as you are making tattoos, you are earning an income, right? If you stop making tattoos, your income stops as well, right? I mean, you can make lots of different things, like, you know, tutorials, Instagram, YouTube videos, right? So this is what I'm trying to explain. You can do lots of different stuff and steer your production towards this path, right? Yeah, so if it's not a good deal if you stop working, your income stops. That's not a good deal. Again, I'm not shitting on tattoo artists, but this is a way to go. But you can still be a tattoo artist, but you can, I don't know, teach tattoo art, right? I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but this is just a concept. This is just an example, right? Or as opposed to, if you are, as I said before, most of the things we as artists or creative people, or we are operating in creative domains, we already establish most of these concepts I'm talking about naturally, because of the nature of what we do, right? For example, if you draw comics and you self-publish, right? This is not easy task, right? This takes long time, but once you do it, once you produce your comic and you successfully publish, then you are set. After that, you don't have to need to do anything about this anymore. You can move on to your next comic book, and then you just put it on shelves and online stores. It just sells even when you are sleeping, right? You don't need to go door to door to sell it. So yeah, or it can be graphic novels, it can be app development if you develop an app, and if you put it on App Store, after that it's just maintenance and updates, all that. It's again, there's work, but it's minor, right? Again, writing a book. If you write a book, if you write a successful book and you put it out, okay, and then you can move on to your next book. You are not attached to it, it's detached from you. So that's time is about, right? Whatever you do, you can find a way to at least partially achieve this, right? So yeah, it's so important. Once you put something out, once you put out your comic, okay, it's generating some income for you, depending on how successful it is. But yeah, it's there, generating passive income. It's uh, generating money even when you are sleeping, and that's the best, right? Also, as I said before, dude, at this time we are so fucking lucky. As I said, if you are a musician, you don't need to convince any gatekeeper. If you really believe in your shit, just put it out there, just produce something, and it will just feed you, right? If you really do something, do some good music that people love, put it on Spotify, okay, and then it will generate income for you, and then you can move on to your next music. You don't have to work in a day job. I mean, after you hit some point, right? But in short term, as I said before, uh, we should be able to do whatever job that pays, if when you are starting. But eventually, the ideal long-term goal should be passivity, right? And detachment from time. Also, almost started the tattoo apprenticeship. Really? But they wanted me to rent the space. I was going. Ampur. Oh, young Ampur. Okay, got it. Yeah, also there are lots of points in our lives, like, and you look back at them, like thinking about it. If I made that choice, where would I be right now, right? All right, next one is scale, right? We have control, we have entry, need, time, scale. Ideally, we need to honor all of these commandments, but you can get away with not honoring one or two at maximum. But ideal goal is to uh, it's like if you honor all of these, dude, like you are you know skyrocketing. Anyways, so we talked about control, we talked about entry, we talked about the need, we talked about time, and then we have the scale. And this concept is replication. Replication. How many you can sell, and mass and magnitude, right? In that case, probably tattooing some pimply old guy, like, not some sexy chicks, but because that's my. I'm sure everyone has some weird stuff. I mean, I don't know. I know a couple of tattoo artists, but I never talked about them. Talk to them about this. So yeah, okay. The scale is all about mass and magnitude, right? So the question here we ask is, in our production, can it be scaled, right? Can you scale it to 10K, 100K, or 1 million? Uh, Potentially, if you write a book or if you write a comic book, right? Potentially, you can replicate this digitally infinite times, right? You don't have a printing cost. You can basically generate infinite copies of it. And digital products are like golden in this topic, in this commandment. Because if something is digital, you can virtually copy that, duplicate that infinitely, right? You can potentially sell 1 million copies of your comic book. But, you can't do that as a tattoo artist, right? I hope no tattoo artists watch this and get crazy, like flaming me in the comments. Yeah, so digital products, literally cost nothing to replicate. Another example would be if you are doing traditional original paintings, you set a higher price, right? Like you do one oil painting, and that's an original, right? Same with comic book original penciling pages, all that. But there's one of it, because it's original and there's one of it, you set a higher price, and then you earn by magnitude, right? You earn by magnitude. This is the big price, as opposed to if you are doing digital art and selling digital prints. This is, you can earn from mass, right? Maybe it's not as pricey as original. Let's say this is 100, right? And let's say this is 10 bucks. But you can infinitely copy this, and you can, virtually make much more with mass, right? You can sell 1 million copies of it potentially. I'm not saying you will, but you should. This is just talking about potentials, right? This is just if this is just a question that can it be scaled? If you want to scale it, can it be done, right? So again, there is no right or wrong way about how we are going, but ideal should be, honoring all these commandments. It's kind of finding that balance that uh, that will satisfy you the most, right? It's not about ideal should be trying to honor all of these, but again, this comes to personal preferences, personality. Some people are born rebel. They don't want to work for anyone. They're like, I'm gonna do my own shit and character. And some people are completely okay. This mostly comes from personality, right? And authentic choices, desires, traits, what else? Strengths, weaknesses, all that, right? So again, a part of it is personal, but when it comes to production, at the end of the day, we are doing something, and if we are planning to make an income from it, then it's for someone else, right? And then we need to think about these terms. But again, it's not. If you think about, I give this example of Spectrum, right? So one edge is completely compromising your authenticity and doing something for money, right? And this edge of the spectrum is, I'm gonna do this edge of the spectrum is like giving the finger, right? Fuck you, I'm gonna do my own thing for myself. It's not like you can't make money like that. You can still make your thing, and you can still people can still love it, but it's not like going completely fuck you mode, and it's not also completely compromising and compromising your authenticity for gains, right? It's finding that good balance, finding that something, or finding that way of doing it that's at the same time authentic to you, and that will generate some income, or satisfy your desires about the project, or at least compensate for the time and energy you spent for it, right? And then we have execution. So these are the 5 commandments, and again, you can apply these to basically anything. Uh, yeah, again, this is from the book Unscripted. Since I learned about it, actually, uh, he talked about these concepts in his previous book. Also, check it out. Like it was Fastlane something, Fastlane entrepreneurship, something like that. Uh, yeah, if you apply these, it makes this part, this, uh, this part of where, yeah, we plan and strategize much better, and you have a much clear idea how you are gonna do it, right? So okay, next part is execution. While you can also take it later from the vault, but if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead. These are like, I would say just download the stream if you want. But yeah. All right. So where is it? I got my notes. I'm good. Nice. Yeah, I was also, this is actually a tutorial, but I'm literally practicing the tutorial here. Uh, Also, let me know, guys, if something doesn't make sense. I can I can try to explain it better. Let's see. Do I need a break? I think I can take a small break, right? Like I just get up, move, and be right back. All right. Not much left. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it. Okay, and now comes the part where we get our hands dirty and execute. right? This is all about doing it. And there's, I think this is pretty much obvious. There is the three step approach, right? Create, get feedback, and revise. You can also think about act, assess, adjust. So it's like you create something. To give an example, like let's say again, giving the example of comics, right, or games. Uh, it might be that now and then you share one page or some characters from the comic, in the communities, in social media, and see how people react, right? The bigger the sample size, better, right? It's not like show it to one person and then decide. It's not a really good way, but a sample size of 10K would be nice at minimum. Let's say you are targeting an audience, a specific audience. 10K from that audience would be nice, right? Something like that. And then you get feedback, and then you adjust, right? If the feedback is good, you focus on the good stuff and do it more. If there are some critics people don't like, you revise them. And this is the approach, right? You basically do something, get feedback, adjust. Do something, get feedback, adjust. That's basically the execution. Uh, it's kind of hard to do by yourself when you are into a long project. That's one of the reasons I'm basically doing everything about the game openly and publicly. I'm basically doing everything I'm doing about the game on stream and see how people react. Again, my channel is not so big. There's not much a sample size, but eventually I'll go there. But yeah, you can also what do you call it? Sponsor or promote. You can spend some money to make these reach to the sample size you want, right? But the basic concept is, considering we established all the previous steps, we have a clear vision, we have a strong reason, and the motivation is not a question anymore. We have the strategy, right? We have, let's call it strategy. And then it's all about doing it and getting feedback. And then, assessing the feedback we get. It might be in one of these areas, right? It might not do the effect you want. Maybe it's not strong enough. Maybe it doesn't generate enough emotion in the viewer, or it doesn't clear enough, or maybe strategy is wrong, or maybe part of a strategy is wrong. Something like that. We just assess and do it again. Like again, remember that meme I keep giving? What was it? Dude, that I think this is my favorite meme. Yeah, I think this is my favorite meme. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the board. Here, right? It's here. So yeah, create, feedback, revise, do it again and again and again until you get the result you want, right? You are going to break out the golden. No, 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 no. This is my number one. The golden is my number two. So yeah, the thing is, once you have established all these parts, especially this part, execution is almost effortless, right? Because you have so much motivation, you have so much mojo. Uh, you know what you want, you know why do you want it, and then you have a clear strategy. Again, it's not 100%, but you have a clear uh, strategy that you have in your hand, and then execution is it's just doing it, right? It's just not being lazy and doing it, because the previous parts really affect. Because if you don't believe in it, doing something or forcing yourself to do something, dude, it's such a drag, right? Yeah, it's almost effortless when you establish all the previous steps. So yeah, again, the idea is great. Get feedback, get feedback from your peers, get feedback from your mentors, and more importantly, get feedback from the people you are doing it for, right? And yeah, if and again, you know, the we need to put aside the ego. Sometimes you need to make some choices that's good for the long term or the strategy or whatever it is. But it's really important to put aside the ego, right? When getting feedback. If 1K people tells something wrong with it, it the chances are probably something is wrong with it, right? I'm talking about the audience. If let's say you are targeting a superhero comic lovers, and if 1,000 people from this category thinks it sucks, it probably sucks, right? So yeah, uh, again, it also comes with the ability to discern constructive and destructive feedback. Again, I think it's all about putting aside the ego. And but yeah, even if you don't like the feedback, usually any feedback is good feedback, right? uh, Maybe it hurts, at least it hurts our egos in the moment, but in the long term it helps us. And yeah, and then you revise and repeat. This is the basic approach, right? And yeah, in the long term, peers and mentors are so important, much more important. In the short term, your audience is important, but in the long term, peers and mentors are so important. uh, and there is not a point that you reach and you don't need mentors, right? I have mentors all my life. I still have them. I still get feedback about my life, about my craft, everything, right? uh, even if it's not a mentor, usually I get the best feedback from my peers, right? That's why I try to approach everyone as my peer. Because peers can give each other more. Uh, peers can give each other feedback that's uh, more accurate, I guess. And sitting down with your peers, having honest conversations with people who are competent in topics that are talking, and who genuinely want the best for you. Uh, Yeah, as I said, if you are working on a long-term project like comics, animation, games, uh, you can now and then share something on social media and see the reactions. and maybe share some bits and pieces of it, and see how people react, and then listen, right? Listen. This is the listen part, and then adjust. Basically, this part is really that simple, right? It's just execution. And then we have the discipline part. So you might say, or you might think, what's the discipline part? It sounds like we covered everything, right? We know what we want. We have a strong reason. We have a strategy and a plan, and we execute it. What the fuck is discipline? So discipline part is consistency, right? This part is the previous parts. Let's say you executed, right? You did this. Whatever your goal is, maybe you got some fame, you got some money, you got some whatever it is for you. And the discipline part is keeping these, right? It's like you work to get a job, and getting the job doesn't mean you are keeping the job, right? So this is all about, maybe I could put it like this, making it to the top is not making it at the top, right? Because you can climb a mountain, but staying on that mountain is as much, or it requires as much effort and focus. Yeah, it requires the same amount of excellence. You probably heard the famous celebrity that goes broke, the famous celebrity that worth $100 million, and they go broke, right? So how do you delete 100 million? How do you delete 100 million? The answer is hedonic adaptation, right? You don't upgrade. I mean, if you have 10 million, you don't buy a car for if you have 100 million, you don't buy a car with you don't buy a car. It's I don't know. This changes for everyone, but I'm just trying to give an example. You don't go and buy a house for 90 million and a car for 10 million, and then you are out of money, right? I mean, you don't upgrade it. Again, I'm giving the example of money, but this can be applied to anything, right? Another example, I think it's a good example, is Ubisoft. I mean, I don't work in Ubisoft, but by looking at it from outside, I think how they failed. By the way, if you Google Ubisoft stock price, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you look at their chart over the last 5 years or something, it's like this, like from $80. Now is it $3 per share, something like that? And because they branched out so much, it's like this hedonic adaptation. They are trying to do bigger AAA, quadruple A projects over and over again simultaneously, like Assassin's Creed, Crew, all the Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, all that. They kind of collapsed, right? And this is what I'm talking about. When you reach a specific point, let's say you established something, you made a comic book, maybe it's successful, right? Maybe you did 3 more. Sorry. And then maybe someone asks for someone asks to use the IP and then all that stuff. Like Witcher, right? This dude wrote Witcher, and then there's a game series, there's a TV series. I mean, he's not doing it, but there are stuff to consider when you are growing, right? So yeah, it's like having the discipline. Again, you can see me saying this over and over again. Never let. So again, I'm giving the money example, but this applies to psychology as well, right? Never let success go into your head. Let's put it like this: to your head, and never let failure go into your heart, right? Because again, we see it all the time. Someone does something and it's successful, right? There's a success, and then there's this chance that you'll be cocky and you try to do something else, and maybe it's not successful as the first one, right? We've seen it over and over again. Like, there's a good movie and there's a sequel and it sucks. So yeah, this is the discipline part, right? When you get some kind of success, it's really important not get caught up in it or not get over bloated, right? Having the same authenticity, same principles, same level of execution, same clarity of mind. So it's like discipline part is keeping the all previous part, right? This is like the guardian that protects all we built. Yeah, hedonic adaptation is big. And if it gets out of control, as I said, it's like you can burn millions of dollars. I mean, Mike Tyson example, all the musicians. How do you go broke, right? It's like insane. Anyways, so yeah, uh, you know, so what it comes down to is like clear vision, right? Clear vision and the mindset, strong resolve, and then clear values, principles, and then strategy, and it's much easier after that. Keeping it is kind of straightforward after that if you don't if you don't give up on the core values. Yeah, that's really how it is, right? It's like you climb a mountain and then you realize there are other mountains and you keep going like that, but it's like you are here, there's the finish line, but finish line always moves, right? You go here, and then you make something that something else, and you keep going up and up. And yeah, this discipline stage is all about not going insane, right? Not going crazy when you achieve some success. It's like keeping yourself sane. And also, imagine how hard to build something and how easy to burn it all down, right? Think about giving birth and raising a child, years of dedication, the patience, sacrifices you make, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, financially. Just think about raising up one human being. And all it takes is just one retarded, idiot, drunk driver to undo all of that, right? Or building a business. You just work years and years, hard work, sacrifice. All it takes is, one Twitter post or 5 minutes to destroy it all. So it's, building something is hard, but keeping it that way is also hard. Uh, but destroying it is so easy. Again, it's like this part is we are like guarding what we have. So yeah, again, the basic idea is at this stage, never let success go into your head. at least too much, right? Don't get too caught up. Remember, we are all human. At the same time, don't let failures discourage you. Whew, man, this is a lot of information, right? But the idea is not to dwell in all these information. You don't need to articulate everything, right away. These are just guides, like usually it starts simple. Any creative spark is just, maybe a thought or a feeling, uh, and you go from there, right? But more you, more time and effort, attention, focus, awareness you put into these stuff, the better it becomes, or at least the journey is more bearable, right? Again, giving that example of this is planning, this is acting, right? You can plan all your life and do nothing, or you can go, what was it? You can go cunning, dragger. This is uh, Dunning Kruger, by the way. This is my internal joke. Or you can go Dunning Kruger and, acting without any strategy or without any protection or any knowledge. So, yeah, it's finding that balance, right? It's not planning all day and doing nothing. Also, it's not acting blindly, right? But when it comes to planning part, this is the best I have right now. So, yeah, again, I don't spend too much time on planning and stuff, but I just, just go on these steps as the steps I talked about, like, the sense commandments, the resolve, the belief. It usually takes an hour for me to, go over these. So yeah, to take this as a guide, right? It's not a strict rule. This is just one way of, looking at it. You might add, subtract from it, or you might customize it for your specific project or for yourself. So yeah, to recap, guys, it's all about having the clear vision, right? Let's let's look at this. Having clear vision of what you want or who you want to become, and having the right mindset, and then having the strong resolve, right? Why do you want it? And having the best strategy that you can have, and then executing it with discipline. This is all what's about. So yeah, I hope I hope this is helpful, guys. Uh, I hope you get something out of this. As we've gone through the major blueprints, I went back and added my own annotation to each one. Since I kind of noticed a through line. Let me know if I'm kind of on the path of what you are driving at here. Definitely some good thoughts. Take away. Yeah. It's like, you can apply this. Uh, and yeah, this helps me so much. I'm using this all the time in the long-term projects, even short-term projects. Yeah, dude, really, that was so much information. How long it took? 3 hours. Damn. But yeah, more or less, you can basically apply this to anything in life, right? Any project, any long-term project or life in general. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all about, uh, meeting the basic needs of life, like surviving, and after that, it's like having a fulfilled life, right? So, having control, freedom, and being satisfied with what you are doing, and ideally having success. So yeah. I think maybe script it out a bit more or do each major point in its own width when you do the final tutorial. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but you know, the the reason I'm doing this right now is like the post you did, right? I saw the post you did, that mind web, that instantly triggered me to do this. Uh, yeah, but it's so good, man. Also, you know, having it laid out like you did in front of you, that gives you a lot of clarity, right? It's like it's laid out in front of you, like you know, FBI, you know, in the movies, FBI agents, you know, do these mind maps, like the suspects and all that. It's like that. I always used to have a wall like that in my place. I put everything on it. Now, basically, I'm using either PureRef or you know the Mac application Numbers app. I'm using that. But yeah, PureRef, I'm really happy with PureRef. The beauty of stuff like that. And PureRef is just being able to yeah, take a global view. Yeah, totally. It's like you can zoom out, see the whole process, finding connections, being able to grab stuff instantly. Yeah. All right. So yep, that's that. I hope it's helpful, guys. I hope you take something out of it. And for the people who are watching this later on VOD, feel free to hop in Discord, you know, ask about anything, get feedback, whatever it is. Yeah, thanks for doing it. Yep, no problem, man. You are most welcome. So, yep, probably not gonna draw something on stream today. I basically not depleted, but spent all my mojo for this tutorial. Maybe I'll sketch something later. But yeah, this is also today and tomorrow also family time, hanging out with my niece, playing games, messing around. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Stay awesome, stay amazing. And yeah, take care. Peace.